Hello everybody, my name is Santiago and I'll be discussing my project on the leptin gene. Now, the leptin gene is not a hazardous compound or a mutation that occurs in the genome. It can be found in most mammals and its sole purpose is to regulate metabolic processes, and during times of starvation tells a signal to the brain and letting know that it needs to start storing nutrients in the fat tissue for later use. Now, leptin gene in humans can be found in chromosome number 7. As of late, leptin has become of concern due to our dietary habits and our exposure to toxic chemicals. Now, it's been identified that whenever a human is exposed to toxic chemicals such as a carcinogen, this triggers an effect on leptin, which causes the production of scar tissue in the liver and the kidneys, affecting the regular functioning of these organs. As a result, the individual will start developing organ failure in these specific organs. Now, the main route of exposure that leptin can be triggered is through diet. Poor diet and overconsumption of food and lack of exercise is the main cause of why there's an overexpression of leptin. The more food we eat with a poor amount of exercise means there's more nutrients in the body for use, but because there's not enough expenditure of nutrients, then the body needs to store all these extra nutrients somewhere. As a result, leptin is triggered to store this fat and to tell the brain that it doesn't need to eat anymore. Now, there are several models that have been developed to track the toxin flow from one organism into another. That includes the food chain model and the acute chronic exposure model. These use linear regressions and acute live testing to identify the flow of toxins from one animal to another, using experimental subjects such as chickens, rats and mice. Now, out there are over 11,000 articles related to leptin, either by protein-to-protein interactions in regular organisms without exposure to foreign substances, to foreign substances interaction with leptin, to food intake interaction with leptin. There's several hundreds of articles that you can look at that probably have it. Now, the main area of studies related to leptin is looking at the body weight index and body weight, because of last couple of years actually, the increment in cases of obesity and overweight has raising a question of whether research in the leptin can help these individuals lose the weight and regulate the weight better. Now, the only way to identify if leptin levels are out of the ordinary is by doing blood work. In the blood, leptin can be found in the plasma, and the only way to do so, to see if there is a discrepancy, is by comparing the current leptin levels of the individual getting the blood work to a scientific standard baseline, which will tell the doctors or the clinical practitioner if the person in fact has a discrepancy of leptin. It could be either by deficiencies in the control centers of the body or because of excess body weight, which has been found to have a direct correlation to the occurrence of abundance of leptin in the bloodstream. Now, the vast majority of the population carries leptin. It's not like it's specific to a certain group of people. However, there has been identified that Hispanics and African Americans are more prone to have higher concentrations of leptin, not because of a genetic predisposition, but rather because of their cultural diets, which include intake of higher calorie intake, including fats and carbohydrates. Now, women and children also have been found to be more prone to have leptin levels, but this is normal for children due to growth which needs more food intake, and this helps the body create the fat deposits in case of sudden starvation. And for women, for childbearing, do that these need the fat storage deposits for the procreation. Now, individuals that are already overweight do have higher leptin levels than normal, but that's due to the abundance of body weight they already have. One of the main purposes of researching leptin so far is to identify ways that these can be helped either by a therapy to lose the weight, or by developing better diets for them that will help them trigger a better response from the leptin gene. Now, when it comes for regulations controlling the leptin gene, there is no regulations that the government can apply, due that is a natural phenomenon within the body. However, the government does have identified that in the last couple of years there is a large increment of overweight and obesity cases to epidemic levels. As a result, the government has implemented new nutritional standards to help its citizens, let them inform of what are the better ways to eat and how much they should eat, as well as encouraging people to get involved with nutritional standards. Not nutritional standards, exercise habits, and how much they should exercise, how much they should eat. That way, this can allow citizens to maintain a healthier weight. Now, when it comes to exposure to control, again, because leptin is directly related to the amount of food you intake, developing better diets, better exercise habits can severely help the amount of leptin that is being released in the body. So, saying that if an individual is concerned about their leptin levels, you have to look at how much you eat, what are your exercise habits. Either you could be if you're a sedentary person, that could lead to higher concentrations of leptin because you're not exercising enough. You're not spending enough energy, but you're consuming too much. So there's a surplus of nutrition in your body that is not being used. Also, it has come as of concern as of late because current studies have identified that there could be a possible relationship between type 2 diabetes and leptin resistance in humans, but the research on this is on earlier stages and further study is needed. Now, for information regarding leptin, there's a lot of information in the internet. Some good websites, it's popmd.gov, which is a government website which gives access to hundreds and hundreds of research studies presented in scientific journals by researchers looking at the effects of leptin. Another website that is very helpful, it's WebMD. It gives an overview of what the leptin gene is, what concerns, what type of tests where you could take to identify if your leptin levels are okay. Also, your family physician is a good source of information. If you have any concerns due to this, you can talk to family physician. He might have some information on this. Be aware also that in the internet there is a lot of information saying that taking leptin supplements can aid in losing weight, but that's just a myth right now, because the work on human interactions with leptin is on very early stages of knowledge. So, saying that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please post a comment. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.